gobierno mexicano está buscando extraditar hacia Estados Unidos a Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. La confirmación la hizo el propio presidente Enrique Peña Nieto.
La indicación que tiene la Procuraduría General de la República es trabajar y acelerar su trabajo para lograr la extradición de este delincuente de alta peligrosidad.
If he stayed in Mexico, there's no guarantees that Chapo Guzman wouldn't be able to escape. There's no guarantees that he would be successfully prosecuted.
Joaquín El Chapo Guzman is being charged with smuggling over 200 tons of cocaine and laundering what would be the equivalent of the gross national product of many countries around the world. This is a powerful criminal.
Sucede este acontecimiento en las últimas horas del gobierno de Barack Obama, ya a punto de tomar posesión de su mandato el nuevo presidente Donald Trump.
Ese tipo de cosas siempre tienen mensajes, siempre tienen un contenido. Lo que sí sé es que después de todo lo que ha dicho el gobierno norteamericano del Chapo Guzmán, después de ese monstruo mediático que han creado, tiene que haber un resultado congruente.
La justicia de Estados Unidos le dio por sentirse el policía del mundo y reclamar muchos mexicanos para ser juzgados en Estados Unidos. No hay pruebas de que todos esos hechos que dicen, él es responsable.
We look forward to having El Chapo face justice in an American court. If you look at his criminal organization, the amount of money he has siphoned off of Americans who are addicted to the poison that he peddles, obviously he's a very, very important target for us.
Some of us had the opportunity to see him arrive at the airport. As you looked into his eyes, you could see the surprise. And to a certain extent, you can actually see the fear. As the realization started to kick in that he's about to face American justice.
The notorious drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is in Brooklyn for a court date this morning.
El Chapo has a history of being able to escape from prison. Security is at an all-time high. They want to make sure that not only are their officers safe, that everybody inside is safe.
Guzman facing a 17-count indictment, including drug trafficking and conspiracy to commit murder.
He has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
I have no comments today. Tendrán que esperar para el juicio.
¿Cómo van a hacer para preparar todos esos documentos que tienen ahora?
Preparándome como sabemos.
¿Cómo le van a hacer para organizarse?
All right, we get 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Sí, por favor.
Lo único que estamos haciendo ahora es preparándonos para el juicio que empieza el 5 de noviembre.
Señor Malarezo, ¿cuánto va a durar el juicio en su criterio y la selección del jurado?
La selección del jurado va a tomar quizás unos 2 días. El juicio probablemente 3 meses va a tomar.
How is Mr. Guzman right now?
He's in good spirits. He understands what he's facing. We know that there's a mountain of evidence that we just got last week.
Is he eager for trial to start?
He's eager for this nightmare to end, sure.
Thank you.
The best case scenario for Joaquin is that we have a jury who is open and can fairly analyze the evidence and come back with an acquittal. They have 17 counts against him. Each of his counts carry a life sentence, so if he's convicted on one, it doesn't matter. It has to be all or nothing.
Mr. Linkman, can we have a word?
I don't really have much more to add. The judge is doing what he has to do. We're doing what we have to do.
Can you tell us how many documents do you have to go through?
Too many. They told us 25,000. Now they told us now it might be high 13s. I'm just one guy. And, you know, and we have other lawyers in the case, but...
How are you working with the other attorneys?
Good, I like them. This is sort of like a triage situation. It's not really optimal. I think that we need more time. We're just doing the best we can, dividing up the work. We believe in the client. We believe in the case. We want to fight the government, and they're going to get a fight. We'll be there on the 5th, and we'll be ready.
The United States, unfortunately, has very long arms. The position of the government is that if anyone did anything anywhere in the world that may have had an effect in the United States, then they can be tried here. I had never met Joaquin prior to his arriving in the United States, though he was made aware of me, and that was through one contact.
Alfredo Beltrán Leiva, uno de los líderes del cartel mexicano que lleva sus apellidos, se declaró inocente hoy en una corte federal en Washington.
I began representing Alfredo Beltrán Leiva in November of 2014.
Alfredo Beltrán Leiva es el que me recomendó al señor Guzmán, sí.
Alfredo and Joaquin grew up as neighbors, very close. He was on the verge of being extradited, so it allowed me to have a preview of what was coming against Joaquin. Not to be melodramatic, but if you think about the might of the United States government, every federal case, the name of the case is United States of America versus somebody. You got the power of the U.S. government against one individual. And the only thing standing between abuse by the system, abuse by the government, by the prosecution, is a criminal defense attorney.
We're just here to give him his constitutional rights, and we will. We'll give it to him vigorously and zealously, and now we're off to go work on the case because we've got a lot of work to do. My first meeting with Mr. Guzman, he was in a very small, enclosed space behind plexiglass wearing an orange prison uniform. I mean, you could see that he was out of his element. He wasn't comfortable. He's in a cell 23 hours a day. He's the only client I've ever had that can't call his attorneys. The inmates in Guantanamo Bay have it 100 times better, and it's not even a question. We just talked about his background, my background. It's not easy for a lawyer to be able to say when he's interviewing for another case, well, I've had a case that's harder than your case, that's more high profile than your case, and I got a positive result. There aren't that many lawyers that can say that.
An alleged mobster with a notorious name may soon be walking out of a federal prison.
Not a single allegation was proven against John Gotti, and he was acquitted of some of the most serious charges here. The John Gotti Jr. case was hugely watched in New York. When this case started, everybody thought he was guilty. There was not even a question. And he was facing a functional life in prison. They had tapes. There were a dozen cooperators. They had everything they thought they had to win, but I absolutely destroyed them. I expect to have John home within days, with his family, where he should be, and out of jail. I never believed for a second that we'd lose Gotti. And there is some parallel to the Joaquin Guzman case here, because you've got someone who the entire world believes he's guilty. Well, why don't you ask why you think that he's guilty? Well, he's guilty because I saw it on TV, or I saw it on Netflix, or I read about it in the newspaper. Everybody just assumes it.
Federal prosecutors say he sent 440,000 pounds worth of cocaine and other drugs into the U.S.
Tunnels. Okay? That El Chapo was a tunnel-building fool.
Obviously, we disagree with much of the allegations against Mr. Guzman. You know, he's a mythical figure at this point. They don't know what was real and what wasn't real.
Chapo Guzman is a myth. He's a legend. A lot of what we know about Chapo Guzman is based on exaggerated characterizations and stories about him. Like showing up in a restaurant and buying out the restaurant and taking away everyone's cell phone. That story's told in several different places in Mexico, but it didn't happen in all the places that they claim.
Chapo Guzman has become a folk hero in Mexico. He is a larger-than-life individual. People were very loyal to him because he played the role of a Robin Hood. He builds churches, he builds schools, he gives money to the poor.
Yo creo que es un mito, Joaquín Guzmán, que además tiene fama de tacaño.
He's not as wealthy as people think he is. You need to spend a lot of money to make money in the drug business. You go to Badiraguato, which is his hometown, you don't see any outward signs of generosity. A lot of roads are unpaved. Infrastructure is as bad as in most other rural communities.
La gente magnifica lo que él hace. La verdad es que es un narcotraficante como hay muchos en Sinaloa, nada más que se le gustó conocer por tema mediático, o sea,
Mexican authorities said phone calls to arrange an interview with actor Sean Penn helped lead to his capture.
The story of El Chapo is so glamorous and so interesting. It's not very different from a Hollywood film. He does not exist for who he is, but for what we are told that he is. After so many years of so much myth, how can we reconcile the image of this man who is now in the hands of justice?
Jury selection begins today in the trial of Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
The NYPD and U.S. Marshals have been working together for months on plans to secure the courthouse.
Bomb-sniffing dogs, extra barricades, and a number of federal agents were set up outside.
Authorities say that Guzman still has an extensive network inside the U.S. They're concerned that many people may not want to see this trial completed.
The jurors will remain anonymous and partially sequestered. Their names, addresses, and places of employment will be kept confidential. They will also be transported to and from the courthouse by armed federal marshals.
Prosecutors have a list of witnesses who will testify to all the illegal things he's done. The names of witnesses on that list have been blacked out on court documents.
The government has not named all their witnesses, but our belief is that principal evidence in the case is going to come from cooperators, other individuals who have already pled guilty, who have done things possibly worse than Joaquin is accused of, but now they're on the government side trying to seek a lower sentence. For example, the Flores brothers were Mexicans who were in Chicago who moved up the drug trafficking world and apparently had close ties with Joaquin. And they did cooperate with the authorities in a case in Chicago. Here's these guys that the government said were these, huge drug traffickers, and, they came in and talked, and they'll be out while they're still young.
Cooperators are the lifeblood of our criminal justice system. There really is no substitute for having somebody at trial who can testify real time to the inner workings of what was going on.
But you must consider the testimony of a cooperator with caution. I have a very good idea of people who are going to testify, and that's fine. We'll be ready for that.
El Chapo Guzmán estuvo presente en corte, no llevaba uniforme de preso, llevaba un traje color azul, mirando de frente a las personas que están finalmente siendo evaluadas para escoger este jurado. Hay un operativo de seguridad que rodea toda su movilización. Se cierra el puente Brooklyn en ambas direcciones. Vigilancia aérea y terrestre lo va acompañando.
This convoy of about 15 vehicles parade him, creating this huge spectacle every day. He is shut in a pod inside the vehicle. He can barely breathe, he can't see. We don't believe it's fair to him.
I think that's all bull. What I know is the tens of thousands of people that man's responsible for killing, I could care less how comfortable he is. Guess what, buddy? You're in the U.S. now, and our justice system is the best in the world, and that's the way it is. Tough.
The impending trial of Joaquin Guzman, the former king of Mexico's criminal underworld, might be stopping traffic in New York. But back in his home state, Sinaloa, things have simply moved on.
Desafortunadamente, el gobierno mexicano no continuó con operativos. Se decomisaron acaso unas 6, 7 casas por las que anduvo escondiéndose, pero de cuentas bancarias, del cierre de negocios que se utilizan para el lavado de dinero, no hubo nada. Entonces, quienes están a su alrededor o quienes estaban abajo de él, pues van a hacer todo lo posible por hacerse del liderazgo criminal de toda esa estructura que ya no tiene una cabeza. Y hay una guerra entre ellos donde toda la sociedad está vulnerada.
En Sinaloa hay mucho pleito de las plazas, el poder. Hay que estar sembrando esa inseguridad esa violencia que no respeta ya ni clases, ni sexo, no respeta nada, pues. El levantón de mi hijo, de Roberto Corrales, fue en una gasolinera que está ubicada en el Fuerte, Sinaloa. Es un lugar donde hay mucho narcotraficante. Estaba vendiendo accesorios para autos y tenía problemas con otro vendedor allí. Ese vendedor tenía lazos con la delincuencia y se llevaron a mi hijo, se llevaron a Roberto.
Luego la vamos a identificar, aquí está la pierna, mira. Aquí está la pierna.
Ya encontramos a mi hijo, pero al final de cuentas nos faltan muchos jóvenes por encontrar. En este país cualquiera te puede desaparecer. Yo hablo de un país en el que caminamos sobre muertos, porque no hay justicia. Sí, es muy doloroso hablar del Chapo o de los jefes o de quienes sean, pues. ¿Quién es el Chapo? O sea, ¿qué hizo el Chapo? Hizo que hubiera más drogas, hizo que hubiera más muertos, hizo que hubiera más desaparecidos.
Opening arguments start today in the trial for Mexican drug lord El Chapo.
This morning, defense attorneys ready to kick off their case.
¿Cómo está? Listo. Can you tell us what you expected to the start of the trial? Opening statements, my friend. There's a lot of things that are going to happen after the trial starts and before the closing arguments. You never know how any one of those things may affect the jury.
It's important that everybody understand that he's just a man. He's got a set of accusations against him that are just accusations, they're not proof.
He's a man known for no other life than a life of crime, violence, death, and destruction. And now he'll have to answer to that.
Chapo Guzman was the Osama bin Laden of the drug trafficking world. Until he is convicted of those murders, there's no justice for the families.
Chapo Guzman is back on our soil now. He can finally be brought to justice for his many years of criminal behavior.
Our intention is to indict these people and to put them in jail.
For me personally, it's good versus evil. That guy's evil.
The fact is, he is innocent until proven guilty.
Well, in this case, he's guilty until proven innocent.
The U.S. government is building the strongest possible case against Chapo Guzman. There's such a preponderance of evidence and such a large number of charges. There's no way they will allow any stone to go unturned, that I think it would be very unlikely that he could be found innocent in this trial.
Americans spend about $100 billion every year buying heroin, crystal meth, marijuana, and cocaine. Imprisoning Chapo Guzman will not stop drug trafficking from Mexico to the United States.
El Chapo Guzmán es un show, un distractor de lo que verdaderamente está detrás de este negocio de las drogas en el mundo.
The government and the media get so focused on these individual high-ranking personalities rather than thinking more holistically about the problem.